Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another tutorial. Today, we are going to be taking a look at bow pirouettes.
Once you've got the hang of bow stalls, the bow pirouette is a logical next step. Not only is this move great fun, but it also has a surprising amount of utility, teaching you boat control when the boat is on end, and also enabling you to position your boat where it needs to be. It's really handy as a prerequisite for moves like the phonics monkey or bow pirouettes on white water when you're plugging the bow into the seam of a hole and seeking to rotate the boat. I have another tutorial all about bow stalls, which is being linked up in the top right corner right now. So if you haven't already mastered the bow stall, then go back and check out that video first and then come back to this one. Alright, let's talk about how it's done. The bow pirouette is quite simply the act of spinning your boat around on the bow when it is vertical. This video is going to assume that you know how to get the boat into a bow stall, whether by a double pump or by a ploughing ender, which incidentally I have a tutorial linked in the top right hand corner right now. However you got there, we're assuming that you can get vertical on the bow and you want to start spinning around. So there are two main techniques, both of which require the same torso movement and control, but use slight variations on movement of the paddle to propel the boat in that rotation. The simpler of the two methods, and this will usually be easier on your onside than on your off, especially if your blades have any kind of feather to them. Some playboaters I know use a 0 degree or near enough feather, but even a 12 degree or low angle feather will still produce some kind of resistance to doing this move on your offside. So it's definitely preferable on your onside. Here you can see me demonstrating it on my right hand, so propelling me anti-clockwise. And quite simply, all that you do from that neutrally upright position in the bow stall, with your torso roughly at a tense right angle with your knees and your arms down in the water, both blades on the surface, is you're going to ever so slightly lift the blades and then do a very shallow, short sweep stroke with the right hand blade, pulling back towards you. You'll notice that the blade is not really digging through and gripping the water hard. It's feathered pretty horizontally so that it just catches the water. If you pull too hard here, you're liable to pull yourself over. So you want to be fairly delicate with this. And you're then allowing the offside blade, so my left in this instance, to just skim across the water's surface, generating as little resistance as possible, but applying a tiny bit of pressure just to keep you in that upright bow stall position. And if you want to keep rotating, then quite simply you repeat over and over again as you rotate around. In between these pull strokes, you can arrest your momentum by planting both blades back into the water once again, just as you would with an ordinary bow stall. If you get it right, you can stack these strokes together and get the boat rotating really quite quickly using this method. I find personally that it is an awful lot harder to do it on the offside because naturally, therefore, the onside blade begins to dive and generates an awful lot of resistance, which can very quickly pull you over. It's doable, but requires a lot more thinking. The second method, and this is the one that I more commonly employ if I'm going clockwise, so leaning on my offside blade, is what I will call the feathering method. To make this second method work, you have to use both blades in tandem. And I find strangely that this is the method that works best for going on your offside. So in this instance, for me as a right-handed person, turning clockwise towards my right-hand blade and away from my left-hand offside blade. And I like to think of it as a sort of figure of eight shape with your arms and the paddle shaft. The way that it works is that you rock your wrists forwards and scoop the offside left-hand blade under the water. You don't want to go too deep, but you do need to go a reasonable distance, because the thing that creates your rotational momentum here is the pull up out of the water after that first rocking wrists forward and scooping. So you need to go a little way down to generate some momentum by pulling up. So you scoop the paddle under the surface of the water, focusing at first on your left hand offside blade. You create a kind of U shape in the water by bringing your wrists back to the neutral position and then passing through that and pulling up through the water. As your offside blade comes up through the water, you want to be slicing your onside blade down into the water to approximately the same depth, and then performing a reverse U, so pulling back towards yourself, cocking your wrists forward, and then pulling the onside blade up out of the water. And as you do so, you will naturally slice the offside blade back into the water with your wrists cocked forwards. You see the pattern, I hope. So it's wrist cock forward, offside blade down, U shape, pull up, and as that's happening, onside blade slices into the water, performs that U shape, and pulls up. The complex thing here is that your blades are moving in opposition to each other, which means that they are acting together. If they were both drawing U shapes from near to your body to further away from your body, then you would just travel forwards or backwards. But as it is, one of them is performing a U shape, the offside blade, that travels from near to your body to further away. And the onside blade is performing a U shape that pulls from further away from you and comes closer to your body. And because of that, that causes the rotation. This is a motion that takes a little bit of getting used to, and it's worth practicing, I think, just sat in the shallows with your boat completely flat, because you can actually turn your boat whilst upright using this method. It's a little bit fiddly, but it can be done. A really crucial thing with this second method is not to allow the paddle blades to get deeper and deeper, because they naturally will. If you try and go quicker and quicker, they will slowly go deeper and deeper, because more and more pop or bounce will be introduced to your turning as you go. And there comes a point where, when you're scooping the blades like this, inevitably you get tangled up on yourself and fall over. It's all part of the learning process, but it's worth noting that that is what happens if you get deeper and deeper.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this tutorial video. I hope you're finding it enjoyable and informative. If you are, then please do drop a like down below and perhaps comment any other ideas of tutorials that you would like to see in the near future. Thank you so much to those of you who have come along this journey, subscribing and commenting, and generally helping push these videos to the YouTube algorithm along the way. I've really appreciated it. If you're new here and you are enjoying what you see, then please do consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you know when I've got new videos coming out. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get back to the tutorial.
An additional skill to bolt on, I suppose, to the first method for the bow pirouette, that simple sweep stroke, is to try and do a cross bow sweep stroke. Bow pirouettes in white water, after all, are very often initiated by a cross bow sweep. So it makes sense to try and practice these on the flat. However, just like with going too deep on the second method, this can very quickly end us up tangled up and falling on our face. It can be very easy to lose control when you're reaching fully across your body. A good drill to practice this is simply sitting in your bow stool and practicing tilting your pelvis using your knees so that you're holding a bow stool with the paddle at 90 degrees to the hull of the boat. It might seem a bit counterintuitive, but doing this I have found is an excellent drill for controlling your boat with your body in a twisted up position. So there you go. Those are some methods for flat water bow pirouettes. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, then please do drop a like down below and let me know in the comments. Likewise, feel free to share this with any of your kayaking mates who might also find this helpful. It all just helps this channel to keep growing. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.